I want to bring you this episode with David Watson, and David is in the process of building something cool, and been seeing him all over my profile. So I was like, you know what? Let me figure out what David's building. So in this episode, David talked about the tool that he's building for more brokers out there to work on their quotes and also to get an rating engine going to help them transfer the information faster and better. So, anyways, talk about David's journey and working with different founders of his own journey. So, I hope you enjoy. Hi, welcome to this episode of Founder's Journey. And today we have David Watson on the podcast. How are you, David?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Great. Thanks for coming. And I just keep on seeing you on my news feed on LinkedIn, showing up at InsurTech New York. I see you everywhere on Facebook. We're both in a few similar communities of Facebook groups. And I was like, you know what? One day I'm have David on the show. So I see you show up on a couple of different podcasts, friends of mine. And I was like, okay, I'll take a sloppy third or sloppy fourth, whatever that is. But I'm glad to have you on the show.
No, thank you so much for having me. It's definitely been following along for a while now. So it's good to finally get on a call and have some conversations.
David, today on this episode of Founders Journey, I want our audience to hear about what you're building. But before that, just how did you get into your vision that you launched, your idea? What was like during idea days? And then also like how did you get into insurance and decide you want to build a InsurTech product on software side? So if you can just take us back to the journey and let us know that what led to this and led to that.
Yeah, for sure. So it's been one of those things that I talked about a couple times now, but it's always a funny story where I was working at Chick-fil-A. My wife and I were engaged, and I was 20, she was 21. And her dad kind of came to me, is like, hey, like if you're gonna marry my daughter, you need a full-time job. And so full-time at Chick-fil-A was not the answer for that. And so I took a pay cut to get into insurance. Is kind of the short part of that story. Buddy of mine, I think you probably know him. Some of your listeners definitely know him. Jeremy Powers is a good friend of mine. He was one that had gone through the journey of, hey, I need a full time job. I don't have a degree like myself. Let me get licensed and go find a job. So he kind of told me, it's like, hey, you need to do the same thing. So got into the insurance industry shortly after getting married in 2012. Handed out a bunch of resumes as a 20-year-old kid. I think I went door to door and handed out like 35 or more, and only had one call me back, and that's where I got started. So that I did the captive world from 2012 to 2016. In 2016, I started my scratch independent agency, Blue Lake Insurance, here in Lexington, South Carolina, and did that for 2 years, and eventually merged into Mappus Insurance, where I'm a partner at, based in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. And it was really there that I learned a lot of the importance of how I do business now, with having a conversation, learning about the prospect. We did a lot of personal lines, a lot of high net worth insurance, and it taught me a lot of how to have a conversation with the prospect and kind of lead that conversation. And that was really where the journey of Risk Advisor started. We had a very manual process to do that. It started out as solving a problem for myself and my team of producers, and it kind of grew from that. Gave them my no code, low code platform in 2019 or 2020. And by 2022, January 2022 is when we launched Risk Advisor to other agencies.
Let's talk about the problem that you noticed, and then what led to say, hey, I can solve this problem. And did you bootstrap it? Did you raise money? Did you go find founders with similar problems? Like, how did that start?
Yes, so the problem was we had a fillable PDF. It was a very manual process. We would fill out the fillable PDF. We actually had a second fillable PDF that we filled out after getting it from getting going through the one that we went through on the phone call. And then it was our job to send that out to our virtual assistants and wholesale brokers to request a quote. So sometimes some of us used that as a fillable PDF. Some of us had that printed out on our desk and was doing chicken scratch notes. Some of us were deviating even more from that process. And so started seeing some inefficiencies with that. I was pretty detailed. I had email signatures that had different templates on how to communicate with the virtual assistant, and realized that, hey, we can, I feel like we can automate the front end of this a little bit more, make it more streamlined, but I feel like even more so we can automate and streamline the back end of this process. So I jumped around from probably through 25 to 30 different form makers after trying to find a solution to buy. Couldn't find exactly what I was looking for. And then just started playing around in a low code platform, building out the first initial version of that. And once I started talking to some other agents about it, I realized that, hey, this is something that could fix a problem for a lot of other people. Yeah, you mentioned we raised a little bit of money, had two investors to help us get started. One's a good friend in the industry. Another one was actually one of my clients that I took through the process. And through that conversation, figured out that they were an angel investor. Um, Got started with original co-founder who separated from the business, found another co-founder, and um, been through that growing process the last couple of years.
Yeah, it's always interesting to do the co-founder route. Sometimes beginning vision doesn't align with the journey, right? So talk about the tech, right? Are you guys building tech internally or are you guys building outsourcing it?
Yeah, so when we first got started, we outsourced to a US based firm. They are phenomenal. I love everything about them. The one thing that I look back on that and do regret a little bit is looking at, it's expensive to work with a firm, and look at what we spent there and realize that if we had found the right person, we could have hired someone full time for a year and a half worth of salary, and might have taken a little bit longer to get started, but we would have had someone full time working on the coding. But we wouldn't have been able to get started without that firm. So I'm very thankful for working with them. Now we have a team. It's myself and my I brought him in. His name's Larry Barker at the co-founder level to buy out the former co-founder. He's based in Wichita, Kansas, but then we have two full-time developers in South America, and then another developer in the Turkey area, and all three of them are absolutely fantastic. They do a fantastic job. They know what they're doing. It's really cool to work with those guys.
When you look at the marketplace, do you think you are inserting your product as additional new player or is the legacy players in the marketplace today?
It's interesting. Like, one of the things that I've really been thinking about here recently is that, like, I'm kind of growing tired of the word disruption, or innovation and all that. I'm like, insurance agents, especially independent agents, are so freaking good at their job. Like, let's just focus on giving them tools that make their job easier to do what they do. Um, I mean, when you look at our company as of today, I mean, it's very simply, hey, we're a form company. We help guide a conversation through forms that create that process, create it, make it easy to have a good conversation. I do think that probably by this time next year, we're going to be more so considered a data company with what we have planned, and a data company for agents, and a data company that helps the new business conversation, making informed decisions quickly. But I don't know, like, there's no one really in the space that's been in the space doing what we're doing for a long time that we're trying to disrupt. We do have some competitors out there, but it's one of those spots that like most of the time, if someone's buying our product, that's a new spend in their agency is not something that we're replacing.
I was having a discussion with a VC guy, right? And we're talking about InsurTech 1.0, how technology, direct to consumer, InsurTech 2.0, hybrid version of direct to consumer and working with brokers. Is there InsurTech 3.0 coming that's completely focusing on, hey, how can we leverage the broker space and then sell them as much software as possible?
I mean, if you think about it, I think the answer is yes. I mean, you look at the number one auto insurance writer or number two, they go back and forth, but look at Geico. Geico is starting to, after all these years of competing directly with independent agents, very quietly, they are now appointing quite a few independent agents. You look at Lemonade. Lemonade came in and said that the independent agent is redundant. It's not needed. Now I get an email about once a quarter asking me to bring them into my agency, and I think for the number one play for InsurTech, what 1.0, what you mentioned was, hey, we can be more profitable because we don't pay independent agents commission. Well, what they're starting to find out is that it costs more to cut the agent out who understands how to write good business, who has their own marketing that they're paying for. It costs more to market to bad business that they're getting than it costs to write good business through an independent agent and pay them commission. I do think that even though it's not the sexy play, I do think technology that is going to focus on independent agents, I think you're going to see more of it and you're going to see that win on a more consistent basis.
I agree with you. Are you looking forward to ITC Vegas? Are you going to be there?
Wasn't able to get signed up this go around. One of those things that tight on the purse strings. But I tentatively have it on my calendar for next year as wanting to make it out there, but unfortunately not able to make it this year.
As a company, what are you guys looking forward to the roadmap in the next 12 months? Thank you for all your support to our channel. Here is a quick word from our sponsor. Please click on the link below in the comment section to sign up for a demo with Track AI.
What if your insurance sales conversations could work harder for you? Meet Track, your AI-powered conversation intelligence partner. Track automatically captures and analyzes every customer interaction, providing instant call summaries, risk analysis, and AI-driven coaching insights. Say goodbye to manual note-taking and hello to more selling time. Track handles the admin work while you handle the revenue. Fully integrated with your favorite platforms. Plus, get custom AI analysis tailored to your unique business needs. Transform your sales team's performance with Track. Visit track.ai today.
Click the link in the description below to schedule a demo with Track today.
Yeah, we're very close. It's funny. You talk about this founder journey. If you did a demo with me 2 years ago, I told you we would never do anything client facing. And because very early on, it was either you believed the way I believed on the proper way to write insurance, or you were willing to adapt to the way that I believe you should write insurance. And through feedback and through kind of thinking about some different ways for us to do it, we do have our client-facing platform launching this month, where it's going to. The really cool thing with it is it's going to give agents these industry groups that we're in. You see these posts or these comments. Hey, do you make your prospect fill out a form, or do you make them give you a call, or do you make them log into their current carrier? And it's all about what do you make your prospect do. What our platform for client facing is going to be is starting that conversation is, hey, how do you want to communicate with us? These are the ways that we're okay communicating with you. Which one of these work best for you? So I'm really, really excited about that. I mentioned what I think will look like as a company in a year. Some of the things that we have around data and analytics and helping agents make decisions on the front end that saves them time, makes them more efficient, place better business is something that we've got planned in the next year or so. So I'm really excited about that as well. But I really believe that whether it's a new business conversation, renewal conversation, or a service conversation, I believe all of those are sales conversations if done properly. And what we have on our client facing is going to support that in independent agencies really, really well. So those are a couple of things I'm really excited about where we're going the next year.
Any strategic partners that you guys are working with? For example, like vertical orange partner programs or any other platform software program where you guys are integrating with everybody else?
Yeah, so we have integrations with PL Rating through Vertifor, Agency Zoom, Easy Links, Quote Rush, Zapier. We are working on a beta integration with HawkSoft on that end. We've got some others lined up as well to expand our integration, especially because you look at how good and clean and structured the data that we're collecting. Making it easy to get that data into the platforms that agents are using is vital.
Yeah, I think with a direct to consumer facing platform and B2B agency integration platform, it's a full journey for the data. You got to have all the journey of the data.
Yep, 100%. Yeah, it's something very early on that we made that decision that, hey, we want to help you collect the data and we want you be able to use it the way you need it. I'm never going to be someone that says no to integrating with somebody else. Even if someone else might be considered an adjacent product or something like that. If our users, hey, tell us, hey, we want you to integrate, we think it would be beneficial. We're gonna get that on the roadmap because I know from the agency side how important it is. Like I choose the tech in my agency for a reason, so I'm going to make that decision like based on what I use on who plays well together.
Are you guys raising money now?
We're currently in a round that we're pretty close to getting finished up. I guess technically it's considered our pre-seed round. So we're excited about that and getting to a place where really don't have to worry about that as much, and more so worry about building out our team. We're currently hiring some positions, and getting back to just 100% building and growing and selling the product as it is. But yeah, we're pretty close to finish up a round. Hopefully able to announce that that completed round here in the near future.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Maybe we can get you on the podcast to do a exciting round announcement
Let's
and
do it. Yeah.
quick shorts and then
Yeah.
talk
Let's
about
do
it
it,
and
man.
brag about it. So, what do you think was the hardest part in this journey for you? You know, because InsurTech is not the sexiest space compared to like cyber AI or 2 years ago, right? Seemed like just a long time ago, but 2 years ago, crypto, when everybody was blockchain crypto, right?
Yep.
What do you think is a challenging journey in the InsurTech world as a founder?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I went through the 101 Weston Labs accelerator, and a lot of the other companies that weren't started by agency owners were telling me, "Man, you have it so easy being an agency owner. You must have instant trust." And I think I do for to a certain extent, but one of those like we would do demos with some agencies, and it was, hey, I love it. I'm gonna wait a little bit, and what we saw was, especially last year, we would have people circle back. It's like, yeah, I just need to make sure that you weren't going to go back to your agency and drop this before signing up or changing my processes or things like that. But I think the biggest thing, I mean, we hear it whether it's InsurTech or just a company in general, is just not quitting. Like after our first year, 2022, we had 12 customers, and like I was putting a lot of my money into the business, trying to grow it strategically, and there were plenty of those days where it's like, what am I doing? Like, why am I working two full-time jobs? Why am I taking all this time to build something that's not taking off like I expected it to? And it really just comes down to like only time you ever lose is when you quit. And it was just one of those situations that I like just kept on making sure that, hey, I'm not quitting today. We'll talk again tomorrow, and never making sure that tomorrow never came to that decision. And so just making sure to every single day just get a little bit better.
You bring some hot takes to the podcast. Um, One thing you said like resonate with me, like being a founder, come from the insurance world, right? Give you a little bit edge up because you actually know the real world problem because you were sitting in that seat solving it. But since you're building a tech software, a SaaS software, did that come and challenge people question your ability to build a tech product?
I don't think it was ever. I don't think it was ever a situation where because I was not coding it, I was not building it myself. I don't think we ever really had concerns about um, us building it. I think there were some times where uh, maybe we weren't moving fast enough on certain things. But I mean, a huge advantage I do have, like I'll be on a demo and people will say, you can tell this was built by an agent. You can tell that this is something that looks through the lens that we look through every single day. And that's on it. Sometimes that's not the best fit. There's different ways of doing business, and there's some agents who are okay with maybe the bare minimum. And I don't say that in a negative way, but the bare minimum of what they're getting from their prospect. And they're in a marketplace where they don't have to worry about fully underwriting an account. There's a lot of flexibility. But agents who are concerned about, hey, let me ask these questions, let me get this data, love our platform because we put them in a position to do that easily. So yeah, I think I really think that that's something that we've kind of grown into there.
That's cool. How was the pitching process, pitching for the idea and pitching for seed investments? What was that like?
It was funny, like when we did our friends and family round. I mentioned one was a friend in the industry, someone I'm really close to who does some angel investments, and with him it was cool. I like the idea. I believe in you. I like you. Here's some money. I mentioned the other one was a client who doesn't come from the insurance background, but he was one that I took through our process on the precursor. At the end of the conversation, he told me, "Hey, I like no one's asked me these questions in the ways that you've asked me. It's clear that you understand what you're doing. Show me what I need and I'll take it. I'm not going to make the other two calls that I had planned to other agents." And through that conversation, I found out that he was an angel investor. Found out that he was interested in Airbnbs like I was. Found out that he had just sold his company. And so, like when we decided to take this product to the next level and raise some money, I gave him a call. I was like, "Hey, remember that process that you said you loved? Well, we're building that." And he was pretty quickly in. And then when we fast forward a couple years, last year we started trying to raise some money to take it to the next level. It was a very long process. It's still a long process that we're going through right now. And there was a lot of conversations like, "Hey, if you had the traction you had 2 years ago, if you were asking for this amount of money 2 years ago, you probably would have been done with your round in a week or two because of where the marketplace for raising money was. But where it is now, where the marketplace has shifted, it was a much more drawn out, hard process. And like I said, we're still not done with that. So pitching the idea itself, that's where the benefit of being an agent comes in, is like I get that trust with it. And then it kind of turns into, okay, how scalable is this process, or how scalable is this product? But a lot of the pitching being during COVID and post COVID, like there was only 2 or 3 pitches in person. Everything else was over email and Zoom.
What was that first moment that you brought your product, a built-out product to someone that you pitched, your first customer, and then an agent that said, "You know what, I like your product, I'm gonna buy it." What's that first moment like?
Yeah, so the very first person who paid us was Vonda Copeland, a titan in the industry.
Manga.
Yeah, she through our beta stage when we first built it, and it was a crappy product. She bought it, and she believed in us, and she reminded me later on that actually a couple months ago when we were talking about something else, she reminded me that David, you told me about this before it ever was a product. I hitched a ride to the airport with her and Jay, her husband, and you were telling me about this, and I've been excited ever since. Um,
You know, just stop for 1 second.
yeah,
Give a shout out to Vonda Copeland. Those of you don't know her, Vonda, she is an industry giant and she's very well connected. And also, she told me that Kansas steak is better than Texas steak when North Carolina barbecue. I was like, that's a hot take. She's like, our barbecue pork is better than North Carolina. Our steak is better than Texas. I was like, that is a hot take. And she, I can't remember what the discussion was. I think it was about World Cup and how World Cup is going to Kansas City. And she was like, when y'all come out here, hit us up. We'll take you guys to real barbecue. I was like, wow.
that's awesome. No, I mean, she's right. I've had barbecue in her area, and it's very, very good. And I'm from South Carolina, so we like our barbecue as well.
Wow. Yes, South Carolina is also known for good barbecue. So yeah, so she believed in your product. She was one of your first customer. Did she give you feedbacks to the product and build outs?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Her and her team heavy users, and someone who is very willing and able to provide feedback. And feedback is something that we take vitally important. Our users have access to a public feedback tool. We don't gatekeep that. It's not something that you have to have a certain amount of votes or a certain amount of requests before it shows up. So, like, we've got feedback where I put it as an idea and thought that this is going to be something that people love, and it's got 0 votes and it's 2 years old. So, we haven't built it. We've got people adding feedback requests that really didn't seem like something that would make sense, and it blows up. So that's something that's always been important to us. Will continue to be important. We will continue to prioritize feedback from our users, and try to make that easy for them to provide it.
Gotcha. Any sneak peek to the D2C consumer version of the product?
Yeah, so I mean, the big thing with that is 3 options. Option one is start your quote, where you're going to go through, and we'll start with home and auto. We'll add additional forms to it later, but our lines of business to it later. But asking non-insurance jargon questions to prospects, because that's where the agent comes in, is able to answer those insurance jargon questions or provide context or provide guidance. But making it easy, pre-filling it with data to make it easy to confirm. But start your quote, import your insurance. We have a feature called Policy Link that makes it easy to log into your current carrier. So if that's how they want to start the journey, they can do that. And then have us call you. Hey, I want to tell you the line of business I'm interested in. Here's my contact information. Give me a call. And just making it all branded to the agency. It's called Quote Forms. So we've got the domain quoteforms.app. So none of it's branded to Risk Advisor. You see Quote Forms, you know what you're doing. And putting those in a position, whether it's phone, on mobile, or your website, making it easy to start that prospect journey, and get that data into the agent-facing platform to finish up before you send out to your rater, your CRM, your virtual assistants, your underwriters, wherever you need to distribute that data.
That's awesome. Well, if I have you back on 12 months from now, well, when I have you back on 12 months from now, what are some of the comfortable goals you have for yourself and uncomfortable goals you have for yourself?
Yeah, so what we've done a while now is kind of we've gone wide. Uh, Agent facing, policy link, proposals, and now client facing. Now it's time to go deep. And what I mean by that is more and better integrations, easier access to your data, easier making it easier to understand your data. I think we as agents, we look at our CRMs and we look at lead sources by what we write, but we don't look at lead sources by what we quote. And what I mean by that is, sure, you can see how much quoted premium you have for a certain lead source, but you don't have insight into, hey, this lead source is sending me more opportunities, but when I look at it, those opportunities are state minimum auto or older homes that I'm not interested or don't have the markets for, whatever it is. So working with CRMs to provide full journey information, being able to see that up front. We've got plans for a carrier report that will help with getting appointments. I think our carriers ask the wrong questions and look at the wrong data. They look at, hey, what's in your AMS? What have you won? What do you write? When really carriers, if they're wanting to strategically grow, they should look at what you quoted and not won. And does that type of business fit into what they're looking to grow it? Because if I'm asking for an appointment from a carrier and I can show them in the last 12 months, I've had 150 opportunities, and all of those 150, 125 fit into that target marketplace for that carrier, let's do business together. That's a more compelling story than saying what I've got on the books that I've been able to write because they fit into my other carriers. So that's just a small sample of making it easy for agents to find more value in their data, but be able to use that data to write more, stronger, better business, quicker and more efficient. Some uncomfortable goals is, like I mentioned, we're starting to hire more outside of our dev team. So that involves me handing off the product owner position, making sure that we continue to be for agents by agents, but having someone who's better at that than me come in, because I'm not a product owner. It's going to define our business so much better to have someone who is not me deciding what we build next, but still listening to our clients. Help getting outbound business development rep, hiring someone to help feed the pipeline so that way we can get in front of more agents. Things like that. Like, I've grown insurance teams. I know how to grow a sales team for writing insurance, but this is a new journey for me of hiring across multiple departments. So that's something that's uncomfortable but super exciting.
When you lean into uncomfortable, you lean into growth. So there's that saying.
Yep.
David, I really appreciate you taking the time to come on this episode. And I know I'm going to run into you at one of these conferences, whether at InsurTech, InsurTech New York, InsurTech Hartford. I mean, there's a lot of events coming up. I'm sure I'll lean into you. And, we got to do an interview, got to do a selfie when we run into each other. So I appreciate you coming on to this episode. And for all
Absolutely.
of our listeners, I am going to put David's link in the comment section. And, David, please go follow David. And David, I'm looking forward to have you back.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on.